Hello everyone. This is the 13th class for social psychological perspectives on health. In the last class, I talked about some evidence of group for health. Basically, when people belong to groups, what kind of positive effects they can get. When the groups focuses on remembering past memories, people tend to have better memory performance later. When their groups focus on more general activities, then they tend to have better well-being and life satisfaction and maybe lower loneliness. And then the effects that we can get from groups could be domain dependent. As I said, if the groups focus on remembering past memories, then people can get benefits in their cognitive abilities. So if people want to get cognitive benefits, then the tasks that groups engage in should require some cognitive effort. If if people want to get more general benefits like life satisfaction or lower loneliness, then the groups can take any activities. The groups can engage in any activities that members of the groups feel meaningful or self-relevant. And one thing I think important is that social identification, the degrees of social identification matters. So in this study, I explained that joining gentlemen's or ladies club at a residential care home, there was no effect among women. And this doesn't mean that belonging to a group isn't important for women, but this means that when women have a strong identification with that group at the beginning, then they would not get obvious apparent benefits from joining that group. Instead, for men, because their initial identification with the group was low, by joining and strengthening their social identification with that group, they improved their life satisfaction and the depressive symptoms. So that it is social identification that change our life satisfaction and well-being. Okay, so today's context. Ooh, I was just jumped to the wrong page, wrong prayer, wrong part. Okay, so multiple group membership. So throughout this course, I talk more about joining and identifying with a certain group, with one group, but it is actually important to join many groups, and then not just joining, but it's important to join many groups and identify with those groups. So life changes are common, and when people experience them, they may decide or be forced to leave groups. So there are a lot of circumstances that you need to leave the groups. And if that group is the only group you belong to, then you will just lose social resources, social capitals. So, and such loss of social resources would be detrimental if that's the only resource you have. So it's important for people to belong to many groups and identify with those groups so that the loss of one group, the effect of losing one group can be minimized. Okay, so not to focus on any one group, but belong to many groups. And then, but there's one condition, as long as they are compatible. So if groups are incompatible, meaning that two groups, for example, that you belong to have conflicting values, then you would feel conflicts within yourself, and such conflict would not be good for your health. So try to join many groups, but groups that have compatible values. Okay. And critiques of CBT and IPT. CBT refers to cognitive behavior therapy, and IPT refers to interpersonal therapy. So CBT aims to change cognitions. Yes, we learned that. And according to CBT, the target of the therapy is to change fixed styles of thinking individuals have. And the CBT encourages people to take actions. What kind of actions do they encourage? Any actions. It doesn't need to be social, right? But according to social identity approach, people can change their cognitions as soon as the context that they are in changes. Meaning that if they change the context so that they can categorize themselves differently, then the ways of cognitions, ways of thinking styles will be different. So it's not fixed. It's can be changed at any moment, as long as if people can change their context and if they can change their definition based on categories. Also, according to social identity theory, it's good to take actions, but it should be social actions. So if you want to feel less lonely, or if you want to feel less depressed, then you should be in touch with others. And not just any others, but social identity approach encourages people to be in touch with members of their in-group. That's the communication that people can have with safe and calm, or maybe even happy mind. CBT does not encourage people to connect to others or consider it as a secondary aim. So this is I guess, one of the most important difference between cognitive behavioral therapy and what social identity approach offers. IPT focuses on personal deficits that cause interpersonal conflicts. However, so IPT tries to change individuals or improve their deficit so that the cause of interpersonal conflicts would be gone. However, according to social identity approach, good interpersonal relationships can be fostered within a group, not in a vacuum. So IPT tends to improve social skills, tend to improve individuals' social skills so that they would not have any interpersonal conflicts. But according to social identity approach, people can develop such social skills only in a group, only in the group that they feel they are belonging. And also, according to social identity approach, interpersonal relationships would be meaningful, beneficial, and warm only if such relationships are within a group. Okay. So IPT lacks such perspective on context that foster good interpersonal relationships. In other words, IPT sort of believes that as long as individuals have adequate good social skills, they can develop any interpersonal relationships in any context, but it would be a lot easier if people join a group and if they develop interpersonal relationships within that group. Okay. So even if people have adequate social skills, it will be difficult to develop interpersonal relationships with strangers. But even if people do not have much social skills, if they belong to a group and then if they develop interpersonal relationship within that group, then they can have a good interpersonal relationship. Okay. So the groups for health program. So we have learned, yes, it's good to belong to a groups. It's good to belong to groups. And but is there any way that people can be aware of it? Or is there any way to train people so that they can belong to groups? This program aims to provide such skills, not just any social skills, but skills to maintain and then maintain their group membership as well as join new groups. So this program is composed of 5 modules, and then these aim to give people the knowledge and skills to understand and manage their social identity resources effectively in the long term. So these are the 5 modules that included in the program. The first one, schooling. So in this module, people will try to raise awareness of the value of groups for health and of ways to harness this. And then also it tries to empower people to take control of their health and try to make people aware that it is possible for everyone with group-based resources. So basic questions that would be addressed in this module would be, what are groups and how can groups help? I guess through taking and learning in this course, I think we are already done with this module. We have learned the importance of groups for our health, and then we know what is groups and then how the groups can help our health, right? The second module is scoping. In this module, people in the program will develop social maps to identify existing connections and areas for social growth. And this is an example of the image is not very clear, but this is an example of social identity map. So basically you write groups names with whatever you belong to, and then try to think which group may be more similar, and then which group have more compatible values. Maybe you can say that the straight line indicates compatible values, and then this kind of, I don't know, jittered lines, I don't know, indicate conflicting values. So that you can know that which groups are more compatible and then what kind of groups you belong to, so that you can be aware what kind of resources you have and then how you may utilize those resources. Okay. And the third module is sourcing. So training skills to maintain and utilize existing networks and reconnect with valued groups. So this is somewhat related to social identity continuity pathway we learned in chapter 3. So the one is this way. By maintaining group memberships that you already have, you can maintain or improve your health and well-being. Typical questions that would be addressed in this module would be, what do I get from my groups and what do I give to them? How groups can work for us and how we can work for groups. So if you are only getting benefits from groups, then people might think that you are not valuable members of the group, and then you may lose the membership of the group. So it's important to think that what can groups do for me, and also what I can do for the groups, right? If you are not getting anything from the groups, then it doesn't work it's not working as a resource for you. But if you are only getting from the groups, you may lose the membership. So it's a balance really. If you can balance between getting from the groups and also providing to the groups, then you can maintain the group and also you can use that group as a resource for your health. And this module also includes that to help participants of the program to explore strategies to reconnect with old networks or to manage incompatibility. So through the scoping, social identity map, if you find that some groups are incompatible, then try to think what kind of strategy you can take to manage such incompatibility. Maybe you can focus on different aspects of the group so that you find commonalities between the two groups. Or maybe at the extreme strategy, maybe you just want to leave the group, maybe there will be different ways to manage incompatibility, but I think according to social identity approach, it's important to manage such incompatibility, not just to leave them. I mean, not just to ignore such incompatibility, but it would be more beneficial if we can manage such incompatibility. The fourth module is scaffolding, using the group as a platform for new social connection and to train effective engagement. So this is related to social identity gain pathway. By joining new groups, you can improve your health and well-being. The typical questions that will be addressed in this module are my groups a good reflection of who I am? What may get in the way of me joining new groups? So try to think what is limiting me to join the group, or what are the barriers for me to join new groups? These are the questions that will be important in this module. Okay. So the last module is sustaining, reinforcing key messages and troubleshooting. This should be held 1 month later as a booster session. Okay, so these 4 modules, I think, can be done one for each week, I guess. And then after a month of these, so I think in total 2 months. So after a month, 1 month later, these 4 modules, there will be a sustaining module. And then they can create a second social identity map, and then they can work together to troubleshoot any issues or difficulties. Maybe between the months from the 4th module to the 5th module, maybe people try to join new groups and then they found it's pretty difficult to join a new group. Or maybe some people actually joined a new group, but they found that they would have difficulties to develop social identification with that group. Or they found that some groups that they newly joined are incompatible with the old groups they have belonged to. So people can talk together and work together to troubleshoot any issues that they have after the 1 month after the program, 1 month after the 4th module, sorry. Okay, so this is basically the basic structure of the groups for health program. Did I say right? The groups for health program, yes. So to just recap what I said, the first module, schooling, is to enhance knowledge of the contribution that groups make to health. So I guess we already have this knowledge through this course. And the second module is scoping, to raise awareness of existing group networks. If you haven't done, you can easily do this by yourself. And the third module is sourcing, to identify networks that are important to maintain and strengthen on health grounds. So you may want to think which group is important for yourself, or more like which group is important for your health. And then maybe you want to think what you can do to maintain such group membership. Okay, and the fourth module is scaffolding. This is to build new social identities. So by being aware of what kind of groups you belong to, maybe you can try to search for new groups that you can join as well. And then when you find new groups, you should be consider whether those new groups are compatible with the old groups you already belong to. The fifth one, sustaining, is to review attempts to build and maintain group memberships in the context of the program. So think of what you have done to maintain your group membership, or think of what you have done to join new groups, and then is there any failures, difficulties? Try to think, and then maybe you want to share with the members of the program, and then think ways to solve those problems. Okay, so this is a basic structure of groups for health program, and then I will talk their effectiveness in the next video.